I have two questions for you. One, dropping a ton of balls, like a ton, that description when the guy has caught 70% of his targets feels a little bit amiss. He's dropped a few passes and they've stuck in our memory because two of them have been especially egregious. The one that hit him in the face mask and then the touchdown he dropped on the post versus Cleveland. Besides that, I think the other
Tyreek
drop
Hill
that
has
he's
6 drops this year. So
and the other drop, by the way, he's
four times as many touchdowns.
Puka Nacua has 6 drops.
Wait, but
Puka
here's the
Nacua
second
has
part.
6.
Here's the
Amon
second
Ra,
part of the
St.
topic.
Brown has 4. Mike Evans has 4. I'm just saying, like, T. Higgins has 4.
Here's the second part, though. Because the drop's fine. You want to take that, fine. Like, okay, they scored more touchdowns, so therefore they can drop the ball more. That's fine. But when
Brandon
I brought
Aiyuk
up the
has
Purdy
2 drops on the season, I told you they didn't count those as 3 drops that game. He has 2 on the season.
When I brought up the Purdy thing, right, with the passer rating and all of that, you said, well, he plays in an offense. You can't expect him to have that many attempts down the field because he plays in an offense that they don't throw it down there. But now we have to expect Brandon Aiyuk to have 12 touchdowns when he plays in an offense that doesn't throw the ball in the red zone to him?
12 touchdowns would be
10 to 12. That's what you said. That was your expectation for this
That's
year.
by the end of the year. That's 6 times what he has right now.
But if the offense doesn't throw him the ball in the red zone, we should expect him to score touchdowns. But we shouldn't expect Purdy to have.
Maybe they're not throwing him the ball in the red zone because he's not open.
Or they're running it in the red zone because Christian McCaffrey scores every game.
Have you thought that maybe they don't throw him the ball in the red zone because he's not open?
How did the guy go from having the greatest camp ever to not being open in the red zone?
I don't know.
Open everywhere else because he's about to have 1,400 yards. I'm welcoming you. Next week, it's on my platform. We can do the full show and go through every single one of Brandon Aiyuk's red zone route running opportunities. I'm 100% ready to do that for the full show.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Do it.
It'll be a great fucking show.
Okay.
Hopkins is one of the most reliable receivers of all time as far as catching the ball, and he has 2 drops this season. That's the same as Aiyuk. He's not dropping the ball a ton.
Yeah,
the perception is
I saw him drop 3 balls in the Cleveland
game. That's not a drop, though, Larry. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's not a drop. What you constitute as a drop versus what actually constitute as a drop is 2 different things. Again, when a receiver is running full speed across the field and a ball is thrown behind him, and he happens to be acrobatic enough to get his hands on it as he's trying to turn around and go the other way, that is not a drop. Now, maybe as a number 1 receiver, you expect that he should catch it. That's fair. But to say that that's a drop, it's not a drop. It's just not.
In my mind, if the ball hits you in the hands, you should catch it.
So then do you think the one that Purdy, when he rolled left and threw it back right and the ball hit him in the tips of his fingers at the ground, he should have caught that too?
No, the ball bounced. The ball bounced to him. The ball bounced to him.
No, it hit his tips of his fingers.
No, come on. Don't be stupid.
I'm trying to figure out what's a drop. I guess I don't know anymore.
If it hits you in the hands, you should catch it. You're a receiver. The way they define drops, that's how I define drops. If it hits you in the hands, you should catch it. That ball hit the ground.
Yeah.
Okay. And if he had made the catch, that would have been a shoestring catch.
Do you think if he would have made that catch where he's running across the field full speed and has to stop mid-route and turn around, don't you think that would have been a heck of a catch, though?
There's degrees of everything, but personally, I just expected Brandon Aiyuk, based on the summer that he had, to have a bust-out campaign. And is this his best campaign? For yards, maybe, but not for touchdowns. Didn't he have more touchdowns in other years?
Though. You know the context of why he hasn't scored touchdowns.
No, I don't. I don't.
They haven't thrown him the ball in the red zone.
Yeah, but Vish, but you know that you're assuming he's open there. We don't know that he's open. Part of your job is to get open. Somebody's going to score touchdowns. My point is, look at Debo, look at him. They're not scoring touchdowns in the red zone.
Yeah, so, we know somebody has to score touchdowns. The guy's name is Christian McCaffrey. He's had a touchdown in 17 straight football games. It's the freest bet in any sports book today is Christian McCaffrey anytime touchdown on Sunday. It's about the freest cheese. Free whatever amount of money you want to make. Worst odds every single week.
So how many touchdowns did you think he was going to score this year?
I don't know, but I've also come into
how many did you think he was going to score?
Why does that matter what I thought? How many touchdowns I thought he was going to score in August? I've watched the last 8 games. It's not like I've expected him to score 5 touchdowns and he's only scored 2. He scored the 2 touchdowns I expected him to score.
You expect him to score 2 touchdowns.
Maybe he should have scored on the post that he dropped versus Cleveland. I think Denzel Ward would have run him down on that. But he should have caught that pass. Besides that, what other place should he have scored touchdowns?
You got to give me
examples. You can't just say before this season, I expected him to score 7 touchdowns, and then we've watched 8 different games. Not give me one example of a touchdown in those 8 games he should have scored, but said, I, in August, thought he should have scored 8 touchdowns.
I think that your number one receiver, you should probably score 6 to 10 touchdowns. I don't think that's unreasonable. And the fact that he's got 2, to me, says that, hey, man, I'd like to see more. And I don't think that's crazy.
Okay, you would like to see more, but that's not what you said. The argument was how good his season was. I said,
I said he's underperforming based on what I thought he was going to do. I thought the guy would score 10 to 12 touchdowns at least. I thought there was a chance he would score more than that. He scored 2 touchdowns. It's very disappointing in my mind. I think he should have had way more touchdowns at this point, and he hasn't had them, and he hasn't been hurt, and it's not like they're going to Debo. See, there's reasons why he wouldn't score touchdowns. It would be if Debo had a ton or if Kittle had a ton, but they don't.
Jason says
Christian McCaffrey has a ton, Larry. Christian McCaffrey has a ton of
He's not a receiver, Vish. You tell me that 9 receivers were gonna combine for 4 touchdowns all year?
How many touchdowns have they thrown for, Larry?
I'm just saying that I expected Aiyuk. I mean, come on, dude. Let's just fucking move on. Now you're annoying the shit out of me. What? I mean, seriously, at this point, nobody who actually knows the Niners thought Brandon Aiyuk was going to score 2 touchdowns this year. And that's what he's got, 2.
Larry, you are projecting something in August, Larry. You said in August, I thought he should have this many touchdowns. I said, okay, that's totally fine. Now you're going back to your August projection when we have had 8 individual games. All I'm asking you, if you're going to say, okay,
the question was, how many, what did you expect?
Larry,
I expected him to do better.
Every single one of these, I've let you finish. Now I feel like it's your turn to let me finish for one of these. So let me finish. And what I wanted to say is we've seen 8 games of Brandon Aiyuk, 6 of them in which he has played significant snaps. Can you tell me which plays in those 6 games that he should have scored touchdowns for us to increase that number from 2 to 6? You can't say in August I expected him to score 2 touchdowns. In August,
I can.
You're projecting about a season that's not been played. We have seen 6 games in this football season.
So that's just so ludicrous. So in August, we couldn't say, well, you know what? We thought we would see about 6 to 12 touchdowns.
No. Now you're creating a straw man. You're saying that I said no. Yes,
the question was, are you happy with Aiyuk's season? I said, no, I'm not. I expected based on what I saw in camp
in August.
For him to score 6 to 12 touchdowns. And he's got 2.
Seen him play 8 games. How has he played in those 8 games? That's not what you're answering. You're saying, I expected him to do this in August.
The question was,
in these 8 games.
The question was, do I think he's had a good season?
Yes.
And I said no, I don't think he's had a good season because I projected him to have quite a few more touchdowns than he has. That's all I'm saying. Why is it so hard to understand?
Because when I say, I think he's had a terrific season.
I didn't say he dropped this touchdown and that touchdown and this touchdown and that touchdown. And in this game, he could have had this touchdown and that touchdown. I'm saying in August, when I was standing there at practice, watching him go up and down the field, make all these catches, that I thought, you know what? This guy's probably going to score 6 to 12 touchdowns this year. And he's not.
I haven't misrepresented what you've said. Okay, you thought then he should have scored 6 to 12 touchdowns. I agree. What I'm saying is you've watched 8 games. If you still think he should have thrown 6 touchdowns he should have caught 6 touchdowns by now in those 8 games, can you tell me where he should have caught those touchdowns? That's what I'm asking.
No, I can't. No,
exactly,
I can't.
because in August, you saw a player that you thought was going to catch 6 to 12 touchdowns.
Right.
And we've watched 8 games into the season, and he's not been targeted in the red zone. So therefore, 2 touchdowns is perfectly reasonable given the target distribution that he's had in the red zone.
All right. Sounds good.
I mean, Larry, you can laugh, but the logical flow is pretty reasonable there.
Really not.
You expected him to do something in August. We've actually seen him do something for 8 games, and you're still going back to your August expectation?
Yes. He's been healthy. He's been in there. I mean, whatever, dude. Whatever.